Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. We'll then run through various short range models looking at precipitation, and we'll have a look at temperature as well, as it does look likely we could be seeing some more widespread rain and thunderstorm activity over the course of this weekend into the start of next week. Now, we have been highlighting it over the last few days of the potential to see the jet stream shift slightly further southwards, giving some more instability for areas in the south. And we'll have a look at some models, and there is some uncertainty with the southern extent of the precipitation, but it is looking very possible and very likely we do see precipitation in the south and the east, where we really do need it at the moment. Its intensity and widespread nature of it is still yet to be determined, but we'll have a look at the models and see what they are showing today. Some are showing a real big downpours and thunder activity, big thunderstorms moving through. So, as I said, we'll have a look at that, and then we'll have a look at the mid to longer range, as it is looking likely, though, unfortunately, that we will be going back towards perhaps a very warm, dry period through the middle of August, potentially even a prolonged heat wave. Again, there are signs we could be going very hot, but the most likely scenario from the majority of ensemble members is for high pressure to build in to see proper homegrown heat, i.e. where temperatures get towards the mid to high 20s, nothing extremely hot, but prolonged warm, if not hot, dry weather, potentially reaching those heatwave thresholds. That is something we are starting to see coming quite consistently in the 7 to 10 day time frame, so we'll have a look at that as well. Just remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So, if we do look at the live radar, you can see not much going on at the moment. A few showers have pepped up across northern England and Yorkshire over the course of this morning into the early afternoon, but again, nothing too much. I don't know if you have all seen these reports, but it looks like Hampshire and the Isle of Wight have now imposed a hosepipe ban. So we really do need that rain. As I said, hopefully we will be see some coming in there. But once again, another day with very little to minimal precipitation at all across southern and eastern parts of England. Now, if we do put the temperatures on, recording this around midday, so we haven't reached the peak temperatures of the day, but you can again see warmest conditions are in central, southern and eastern England. So pretty decent today, temperatures getting up towards the low to mid 20s quite widely, maybe even high 20s in a few spots. Elsewhere, high teens, low 20s. So another warm day, temperatures around, if not slightly above average, another very pleasant day. Just unfortunately that we are very, very dry at the moment. This would be a perfect summer day, but at the moment we really do need that rain, as I said. So, if we do now have a look at the UKV, see what that is showing over the next 5 days. Now, this run very much is on the side of significant rain in the south. So, if we do run through it, you can see that precipitation across the north sort of moving away over the course of this afternoon. Weather fronts start to approach this evening in from the west, giving a soaking for northern and western areas, but we need it in the south, don't we? And we do see weather fronts move through, maybe giving a bit of a sprinkling for East Anglia, maybe getting towards the southern areas as well, but nothing too major through Saturday. Still quite dry in the south. Elsewhere, more cloud and a bit of rain and some showers. It's as we head through Saturday night into Sunday, you can see this precipitation is slightly further southwards than we have been seeing it over the last few days and in the next day or so. And that's because the jet stream is slightly further southwards, the low pressure centre is slightly further south as well, and that means we see precipitation move in for central southern areas. So initially, a bit of precipitation there through early hours of Sunday. Looks like pretty persistent, but moderate to light, some heavier stuff coming through Wales, southwest England, but the big precipitation we could be seeing is as we head through into Monday. So nothing too much there, but some heavy, thundery showers, real significant rainfall spreading through central, southern and eastern areas. Big precipitation there. And you see those reds indicating a torrential rain, thundery activity. And again, this will be convective of nature, so not all areas would see torrential rain with this, but quite a few areas will. So it would widely fill up reservoirs, widely give a rise to river levels as well. Again, we need prolonged rainfall really to make up the deficit we have at the moment, but this would help. This would be a start at least. But yeah, heavy, significant rainfall there for eventually it does sweep eastwards, and we see more rain through Tuesday, more heavy, thundery rain as well, before the jet stream starts to shift slightly further northwards again. You can see the core of that rainfall and the showers through Wednesday starts to shift further northwards. And the reason for that, if we just have a look at the pressure, is because we have low pressures moving through central southern England. Again, you see the centre of this low here is moving through the Midlands into northern England, and you can just see repeated little systems moving through the south. Again, it doesn't show it too well here because they're not severe lows, they're small little systems giving a bit of instability within a generally quite hot, if not, well, very warm, if not quite hot upper air temperatures. You can see that getting towards the low teens there, maybe even mid-teens, which would, if we had sunshine, give temperatures in the high 20s, maybe even 30 degrees. So very warm air masses mixing in with some instability, and that is what's causing the potential for some heavy, thundery rain. But as I said, if this shifted slightly further northwards, then we wouldn't see this precipitation in the south. And I'll show you some models. I will show you another model in a second that does indicate this shift slightly further northwards. If you do have a look at the max temperatures, though, over the next couple of days, you can see this afternoon temperatures have peaked around those low to mid-20s, widely even maybe high 20s, 26, 27 degrees in a few spots. And that is similar to tomorrow, low to mid-20s widely, maybe 26, 27 in the south. As we head into Sunday, more widespread precipitation will hold those temperatures down a little bit more, so widely low 20s, around that 20 to 22 degree range, high teens further northwards. In the far south, maybe still getting towards 26 degrees. And by Monday, quite variable temperatures depending on the cloud and the precipitation, but widely again, high teens, low 20s. And again, it's very similar on Tuesday, high teens, low 20s widely, maybe even high 20s in a few areas in the far east. So yeah, still looking pretty warm, and where we do avoid precipitation and cloud, it will still be very nice, proper, warm summer weather out there. But hopefully we do see that precipitation in the south. But, as I said, if we have a look at the icon, we'll see there is slightly differing view on the area of precipitation through Sunday to Tuesday. Now, we are a few days away, especially that heavier precipitation on Monday and Tuesday. We are still sort of 3-4 days away, so there is uncertainty with it. But if we do run through to the icon, you can see, as we head into Monday afternoon, that heavy, thundery rain is much further northwards and is more just a persistent weather front because it doesn't quite engage with the hotter air in the south as much. So heavy, persistent rain for northern areas, through the Midlands, parts of Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, but not for central southern England. We do see a bit of precipitation move through eventually, but nothing major. Would be a sprinkling, but nothing crazy. So if you have a look at the precipitation accumulation here, you can see for the far south and east, minimal. Some areas may be seeing 5 to 10 millimetres over the next 5 days, but that's nothing too much. We can get that in about 20 minutes in a big thunderstorm. So yeah, not too much, but hopefully looking quite likely we see at least a trace, some rain in the south and east. Just if we saw something like the UKV, we'd see potentially quite a lot of rain, maybe 10 to 20 millimetres quite widely. Now, if we have a look at the ARPEGE, now it only goes out to 72 hours, so only 3 days ahead, but you can see by early hours of Monday, you can see the precipitation is much further southwards. Again, we won't be able to see exactly what happens through Monday and Tuesday because it still is more than 3 days out, but good sign to that precipitation, the centre of that precipitation is much further southwards. So this would likely give a lot of that rain in the south and the east and the far southwest, where we do need it at the moment. So that is one positive sign we're seeing for the models today. It definitely does look like the majority have that precipitation centred further southwards today. Again, not all models going for it, so there is uncertainty, but it does look likely, highly likely now, almost guaranteed, we will see some rain. The intensity and widespread nature of it, as I said, is what we still have to decipher. But I do suspect within the next day or two, probably by tomorrow afternoon's update, we will have it very much more zoned in what intensity we're going to see and where exactly that precipitation band will spread in, whether it will be northern England and Scotland with some traces further southwards, or whether it will properly move through Wales, the Midlands, southern England, East Anglia and the southwest. So we'll have to just see what happens with that. So if we do have a look at the mid to longer range now, if we do look at the GFS, now this GFS run is just coming out as I'm recording this, so we won't be able to have a look at the ensembles from this exact run, but we'll have a look at from the midnight run from the ensembles. Now, yesterday we did see that the GFS was going extremely hot, potentially getting those temperatures back into the mid to high 30s. We're still seeing some signs of that today, but most of the runs are more moderate. As I said, it was most likely an outlier yesterday, but we couldn't discount it just because the GFS showed those charts at the start of July and was right in the end. So if you run through it, you can see the low pressure moving through at the moment, and you can see that jet stream is slightly shifted further southwards through Monday and Tuesday. You can see how these lighter colours, the greens and yellows, are slightly further southwards, and you see that centre of the low does shift through more central areas through Wednesday and Thursday. We go into a cooler air mass for Thursday, Friday time. But it's beyond that. High pressure starts to build in, turning things warmer and drier. It would be a proper homegrown heat though, because you can see the tilt of the isobars is actually coming in from the east. So the upper air masses are not particularly warm. I still suspect temperatures on the surface would still be mid to high 20s, just because we still have very strong sunshine being early August. But the exact upper air temperatures are not particularly warm. And if we continue on the upper air masses, you can see that high pressure stays to our over top of us and to our east, and you can see the air mass slowly warms up. And by around the 10th of August, we're all in the 10-degree isotherm. The 15-degree isotherm could be moving in as well, and we just stay persistently under this warm high pressure, and we stay, as I said, very warm, perhaps even getting quite hot once that 15-degree isotherm starts to waft up from the south. This would be a prolonged, very warm, if not turning quite a hot spell. Could be quite a persistent heat wave here. Again, nothing on the levels that we saw in the middle of July where it got up to 40 degrees. This would probably max out low 30s, but it could be persistently around high 20s, low 30s for 5 to 7 days, not 40 degrees for 2 days and then much cooler again. So that is the one thing with this. It's a different sort of event than what we saw in July. It would be a persistent, more typical sort of summery heat wave. And I think most people would enjoy it because it's not oppressively hot, but it's still very warm enough, sunny enough to go out and enjoy it. But coming off the back of very dry weather we've had over the past 6 months, it could be a real surge towards drought conditions if we did see this, because this would halt any rainfall for a good week to 10 days if we did see this pattern come off. So it would not be good for gardens, for businesses that do need water, parks, things like that would very much get a lot worse than they are now, and it could spark up another resurgence of wildfires that we have seen over the past month as well. So even though in a normal summer where we have had more average rainfall leading up to it, this would be perfect conditions for most. Perhaps not the best at the moment. We much probably prefer a thundery spell and more westerly sort of conditions just to get those rainfall totals back up before we perhaps could enjoy a late summer heat wave. So this is the signal today, and we are seeing it from the other models as well. If we do have a look at the GEM, only goes out to day 10, so it's not going to show anything majorly hot. But as we run through, low pressure moving through over the next couple of days, and you can see that centre of the low is further southwards, potentially going through northern England, which would give heavier precipitation in the south, as I said, through Monday, Tuesday time. High pressure does build in beyond that around day 7, day 8, very similar to the GFS, where initially it's a bit of an easterly flow, so cooler conditions initially, but warm air mass is starting to build, and you can see the 15-degree isotherm is just across northern France and would start to waft towards the UK and would start to give us temperatures in excess of high 20s into the low 30s. Again, you look at the temperature deviation. Cooler air is to our east, but eventually some warmer air, around 4 to 6 degrees, maybe 8 degrees above average, starts to waft up in the south, and that would be very nice, warm, summer-like conditions returning. Now, if we do have a look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare. Again, very similar over the next few days, low pressure moving in temporarily, that jet stream slightly further southwards, giving us our heavier precipitation potentially in the south through sort of Sunday to Wednesday next week, before high pressure builds back in. Initially, as I said, more of an easterly flow, and again we have a look at those upper air masses, and you can see slightly cooler in the far southeast, but eventually those warmer air masses will be building in, and as I said, it will most likely be initially at least a homegrown heat and potentially tapping into that real hot air towards the middle of August, as we saw with the GFS yesterday, is still a possibility. But initially, as I said, homegrown heat turning maybe warmer, even hotter later beyond that. Now, if we have a look at the the GFS Ensembles, you can see generally around or above average over the next sort of week or so, but nothing crazy, just generally warm air masses coming in from the west. It's not going to be anything too crazy, as I said, because we have a general westerly wind, so it is going to be mixed with precipitation and cloud, especially further northwards, and you can see some precipitation spikes, some consistent precipitation spikes through Monday to Wednesday. Again, uncertain with this, as I said, because it's going to be most likely thundery and convective of nature. The ensembles aren't going to pick up on it too well, so we'll just have to keep an eye on those short range models over the next day or two. But then you can see that northerly wind as the low eventually clears to our east by around the 6th, 7th of August, so in around a week to 8 days' time. So 7-8 days' time, cooler air mass comes in before we slowly rise towards the middle of August, well above average. The operational run there goes, this is the midnight run, as I said, goes well above average. Quite a few ensemble members are well above average as well, turning very warm, if not quite hot, and a drying trend as well. You look at the sea level pressure, a big rise in the longer term. You can see that around the 7th, 8th of August. Big high pressure moves in, a bit more uncertainty in the longer range, but the majority keep us in very high pressure sort of range. Now, if we do have a look at the ECMWF ensembles, again, very similar pattern, warm over the next week, a big dip around the 5th, 6th of August as a cooler northerly wind comes in, and then a rise to around or above average again towards the end of the run. More cooler ensemble members here, but still got plenty of very warm, if not hot, ensemble members. So it's not guaranteed at this stage, but it's looking the most likely scenario with most of the operational runs now on board with it. And we are seeing a warming trend and a drying trend within the ensembles in the longer range. It is something we do need to keep an eye on. It's extended range, so it is not guaranteed, as I said, but it is looking quite likely in terms of scenarios at this stage. Hopefully, though, we do see some precipitation over the next few days. I'll keep you updated here, of course. We'll probably will know exactly where that precipitation band, or at least its southernmost extent, probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. So make sure you do stay tuned for that. At the moment, though, the latest updates from the short-range models are looking encouraging, but not all models are on board, so we can't say for certain at this stage. But it does look like a pretty decent scenario at this stage that we are going to be seeing some precipitation, at least in the south. And if we go by the UKV and the ARPEGE, it could be significant precipitation for a couple days for many areas, which I know a lot of people will be glad to see. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to stay safe out there if we do see some thundery weather, and of course if we do continue to see warmer weather in that longer term. And I'll see you again for another video soon.